I am Margaret. This is the eulogy we read for Nono Francesco, and I'll read it for you now so you can hear what I said. Good morning. I want to thank everyone for coming here today to pay their respects to Franceschino, especially Father Warner for giving me this opportunity to speak about my grandfather. I know that he's very happy to see all of you and know that you held him in your hearts. My name is Francesco Paciocco, and I'm Francesco's grandson. So lui figlio di Nicolino. I think that since him and I had the same last name and I spent a lot of time with him growing up, it's fitting that I be the one to say some words about Nono Francesco and his life. My grandfather was born in Vacri, Italy, a small town that most of you know, and some of you here today even come from. Francesco Paciocco was one of 11 children born to Nicola and Bambina Paciocco in 1922. There were farmers who enjoyed a simple, honest lifestyle, one based on strong values and one filled with temperance and love for one another. Those times were much different than now, and in many ways my grandfather is the product of a different world, one that was much simpler and nobler than today. When he was a young man one day, he met the beautiful Adina Donofrio. He looked at her and immediately knew that she would be his wife. The world, however, had different plans at the moment. World War II called, and Francesco left Vacri to serve in the Italian military. He fought courageously across Europe and was a prisoner of war in a Croatian concentration camp. He used to tell me these war stories when I was a little kid with great honor and pride that he was able to serve his country. After the war, he returned to Vacri and married Adina, but yet again the world had different plans for Francesco. Italy was in bad shape, and many decided to stay in their hometowns, salvaging what they could to rebuild their lives. Some had the courage and vision to go elsewhere. My grandfather was one of these people. He, along with several other men from Vacri, left their families to go to Venezuela to find work. This was a selfless act, one that would ensure the prosperity of his family back home where he would send money. My grandfather spent 10 years in Venezuela. This was a time before cheap airline tickets, email, text messaging, Facebook, and cell phones. 10 years of hard work, sacrifice, and effort thousands of miles away to make sure his family at home could live well. It was simple yet important acts like this that would define my grandfather for the rest of his life. He was a strong, tough man with a kind heart, adventurous, brave, uncompromising, but most importantly, he put his family first. In the 60s, my grandfather would once again travel across the ocean to ensure a better life, this time coming to Binghamton, USA in 1966 with his wife Adina and children Nicola and Marilena. They arrived with no English abilities. It was through hard work, determination, and commitment to the well-being of his family that Francesco would build a life here in the United States. Adina worked as a seamstress at Drazen's, and Nono Francesco was a construction worker, helping build the roads and bridges we all drive on today. It was building things, taking initiative, contributing, and working hard that Nono Francesco really loved. I remember growing up with him and Nonna Adina in Long Island, where they came to help raise his kids and live with my family in 1988. Nono Francesco was older now, 66, and retired from his construction days, but that didn't stop him from providing for his family and being a strong man. He was always looking for something to do and didn't like to sit still. He built the shed in our backyard by himself with his bare hands and no instruction manual, with nothing more than spare wood and nails, and after 20 years it's still standing. He laid the brickwork on the gates at our house, and like the rock he was for his family, they're still holding strong today through the storms and changing seasons. Francesco and Adina turned our backyard into an oasis of fruits and vegetables, a garden that they would work on day in and day out. There were tomatoes, peppers, zucchinis, and everything in between. They turned an empty pile of sand into something beautiful through hard work and persistence, and this gave them great pride. My sisters and I, Luciana and Annalisa, would help them in the garden. Oftentimes, while Nonna Adina and Nono Francesco would yell from opposite ends of the garden that some plant needed more water or attention. It was through this garden and many other examples that we kids learned the values of hard work, patience, and dedication. On Sundays, Francesco and Adina would get dressed up and go to church. Sai alla messe. Nonna Adina always made a fuss and wanted Nono Francesco to wear a different tie so he would look nice. Gentlemen, listen to your significant other on tie selection. They always know better. The two of them were very religious and strongly believed in God and our higher purpose in this life. The years passed, as they always do, and my grandfather continued his service to our family. He would climb on the roof of our house when the gutter wasn't working and frightened us by almost falling off. He would wake up early when it snowed to shovel, even at 80 years old. He loved to mow the lawn and made sure each pass of the lawnmower was precise and symmetrical. I tasted my first beer after helping him mow the lawn one day as a kid. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but the truth is out. He drove my mom to her chemotherapy appointments while she was fighting cancer. He would show up every day to pick us kids up from school in his shining red Chevy Impala that he loved. It was him that taught me how to drive on that car after much yelling back and forth about me not braking fast enough. In short, he gave everything of himself to make sure that his family was okay and taken care of, and for that we are eternally grateful. Later on in his life, when we all got older, I would see my grandfather sitting by himself in the den looking out the window. He wasn't sleeping, but just looking. For years I wondered, what could he be thinking about? What was he doing? I think now I understand. He was reflecting on all of his experiences, travels, family, and friends he made along the way. He was thinking about all the lives he touched, and all the tough times and good times of a life well lived. This is the example my grandfather set for all of us here today, to live a life full of experiences, adventure, courage, and hard work, to get it done, to be a rock for your family and put them before anything else, to overcome challenges, adversity, and tough times with a stiff upper lip and determination, to serve God and all of his marvels patiently and respectfully. This is what we can learn from him. This is his legacy. When I first heard the news about his passing a few days ago, I was saddened but also quite happy and proud of him. I was proud of him because Nono's life is something we should all aspire to. He lived a long, full life with many experiences and accomplishments, being surrounded by love along the way. So today, when you go home to your families, look back on my grandfather with fond memories. Remember the times at family gatherings when he lit up like a Christmas tree around little kids with his Donald Duck impersonation. Remember the loud phone calls to Italy. Remember the card games at the Abruzzese Club. Remember enjoy a glass of red wine. Remember the card games at the Abruzzese Club. Remember to enjoy a glass of red wine after a hard day's work or a cup of espresso after cake on Sunday. But most importantly, remember how Nonno Francesco chose to live his life with honor, dignity, respect, integrity, love, and commitment to his family, and especially God. Let that be a lesson for us. He has set an example for all of us, and he will live on. Ti vogliamo bene, Nonno Francesco, e ti ringraziamo per tutto. Sappiamo che sarai sempre con noi. Thank you, everybody, and God bless all of you. Love you, Aunt Margaret. Thank you.